What do you think is worse? Not knowing what your passion in life is, or not having the ability to pursue your passion? Uh, by that, I mean like not having the talent or the time or the skill or the ability, whatever it might be, to pursue it. I'm Jason Oliveira. This is the Road to 40, and this ought to be this ought to be a fun one tonight. Um, a friend of mine on Facebook, I don't know if he wants me to mention him or not, but he was saying that well, let me just log into Facebook and kind of paraphrase it. I don't want to just say it word for word, but I had another weird dream last night. Um, I was in Hawaii with Carol, the kids, and the Melansons were all there. My friend Jen and Tanya live there, and their mom does as well, Yvonne. And we were playing beach ball tag, where we were running around. But suddenly, at some point, like we were all having fun and like catching up and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, beach ball volley or tag turned into zombies, and like they started chasing us. And this has happened a lot. I always end up at the same building during a zombie apocalypse dream. It's not a reoccurring dream because this was very different, but it's always this fenced-in warehouse, and there's also like a house within this fence. Uh, it's bizarre, but the last 2 nights I've remembered them and I've written them down, and the next night I've had a dream. So I'm hoping that that leads to more dreams and more stuff I can talk about. Let me read you this. Okay. Okay, I'll read it to you. It doesn't matter. You probably don't know who he is anyway. I think my biggest problem is that I just have no interest in being a normal person. Me too. I don't want a normal job. I don't either. I don't want a normal girl. I don't have one. I don't want a normal life. And that's some of the most beautiful things that I've ever heard. Like, because I think, I don't mean to sound like you can do it. Like I said, I'm not an inspirational speaker, but you know what you want. Like, and you won't settle for less. This is a gentleman who will not settle for less. Like, he won't surround himself with people who are any less of friends than he requires. You know what I mean? Like, it's cost him, I think, a lot in life, but he stayed true to himself. He's a very creative individual, and I think there's a weight on him, and I don't know what it is, but if you could get it off, I think you'd be free, and I think you would reach for the stars and make it, my friend. I'm just saying that. I'm not going to say who you are. uh, he made another comment, but it's been going back and forth, and he's a good friend of mine. I think one of my real friends. You know what I mean? Like the people who stuck through me through thick and thin. And if I was dumb, he would tell me. um, but there's a heart in him that he will never admit to. I don't think, or maybe he will. But I wouldn't have remained his friend, or I can't really say too much without going out who it is. Without seeing a genuine soul there. And I believe he has the power to do it. If he could break free of whatever it is that's held him back, he could get out there and he could do it, and he could be somebody. I think a lot of people could be people, but we give up on ourselves so easily in life. Like, so many people settle. Like, they get to this point, like I think they see life as this pinnacle, like that eventually they're supposed to reach. But what happens when you get there? I mean, does it all just level out, or does it all start going downhill again? I think that's a stupid way to view life, like always going up. I think you should see it as the branches of a tree. Like, there are always so many options and so much you can do with your life and do to get yourself where you want to be in your life, for that matter. And we compromise because we think that we can't get to that next pinnacle. But when we realize it's not a linear angle going up, it's a branches of trees going up and down, left and right. You never know where life's going to take you. Ask me 20 years ago if I'd be in Lynchburg, Virginia, and I would have told you were crazy. Like, well, maybe not crazy. I mean, there's always a chance of things, and I've always seen that there is chances. However, I highly doubt I would have believed it. I would have been like, okay, whatever you say, crazy. But I'm here, and it changed my life in a lot of ways. I'd grown up pretty much most of my life in Taunton, and the people I knew for at least, or the people that I hung out with, I knew for at least 10, 15 years. Um, the first, well, maybe even 20 years. Yeah, technically you can go back to people like Larry Rivard, and I mean, we're friends on Facebook. Not that we've had a lot of contact over the years, but we've remained friends and friendly for that matter. Um, and so, yeah, life is a bunch of branches, and some are, easy enough to walk out on. Some of them you're risking it. You're like, hey, that's a little thin, that branch. But if what's at the end of that branch is worth the risk, then you owe it to yourself. Just take that first step onto the limb. Um, if you don't, you'll never know, and then you'll die, and you'll go, I wish I had just taken that step. I wish I had tried. I wish I tried a little harder. I wish I had done the things that could have got me further, but I didn't because I was lazy or because I didn't think it was worth taking the chance. I'm just saying. I don't know if it makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. I feel I've grown older and wiser in my years. Maybe not smarter, but definitely wiser. It's a funny thing, intelligence and wisdom. I gotta work on the upper body on this, but yeah, that's kind of the idea I was going for with my character. Originally, I thought he was gonna have long white hair, but just because his hair is white doesn't mean it needs to be long. Um, Spoiler alert for episode 7. Just briefly, did you see the picture of the Millennium Falcon that a plane took overhead? That leads me to believe that this the Millennium Falcon's been fixed up over the last 30 years. It's not such a hunk of junk anymore. That would only make sense. Obviously, they were on the winning side of the war. Now, I don't know how many changes over the course of 30 years. Look at other countries who have been overthrown in 30 years. Or even, Iraq is a bad example, I guess. But a lot changes. Russia, there's so many things that can happen over 30 years. I mean, not like it's 200 years, but 30 years makes a difference. So I'm really looking forward to these movies. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how good or bad they turn out. I will enjoy going there and seeing those movies. It's rare that I go to the theater, but I can promise you one thing. My kids aren't going to miss one episode on opening day of the next 3 Star Wars or 5 Star Wars movies. I'll find the money. Isn't it sad? Like I told you before, we don't make a ton of money. We get by. Sometimes we don't, but we manage somehow. Small miracles just happen. And I'm not saying we're in the best position, but for us to go to the movies as a family of 5, if you count it that way, if you go to a 3D movie, you're looking at at least 14, 15, let's say 15. So you've already got $60, $75 just in tickets for, well, you might get a discount for kids or if you go to a matinee. So 75, let's bring it down to 60. Let's say that's reasonable, right? So 60. You can't not get popcorn because it's good at the movies. Popcorn at the movies and a huge drink because it's free refills, and you've got 5 people and you're going to refill it. And you're going to refill it before you leave, and the popcorn because it's refillable. But you're talking at least, if you just go with 1 drink and 1 popcorn, that's still another $15. So that brings you back up. Let's say it's 75. So that's $75 to go see a movie. I remember, oh, here we go. I remember when I was a kid, but I remember a lot of times I got it free because I knew people that worked there, but when I was really young, I remember around the days of Ghostbusters and Back to the Future and stuff like that, movie tickets were you could go to a matinee for 2 or 3 something and a regular showing for maybe it was $5, $4.75 or something, $4.25. It went up very fast though. I remember within 2 years or 4 years, maybe we'll say 4 years, it went up to $6 to $7 for a regular ticket, and each year was $1 or something, that tacked on over those years. And so I've stopped going to the movies more and more because that's dumb. unless you can afford that lifestyle. Isn't that sad that a lifestyle is just going to the movies once a month? I'd love to like have one night where we take the kids and we go to the movies. I think that'd be fun. There's a lot of good kids movies too. Like when I was a kid, they were good for the time, but when I watch them now, I'm like, eh. Like there are some exceptions: Dark Crystal, Fox and the Hound, Transformers. You know, you can go on to so many movies like that. The Muppets. But now they've gotten pretty good. The quality, and I think Hollywood smartened up and they think, wow, we got all these parents. If we want both parents to go and enjoy the movie and come back and watch another one, we've got to kind of make it for them too. So that's why I think some of these, like the Muppets, the last two Muppets have had a lot of inside jokes that you would get if you knew all about the Muppets, or even just you were an adult living in right now. So, and they didn't do too well at the box office, from what I understand. But Guardians of the Galaxy, I still haven't seen that, and God, that's making crazy money. It's doing so well. Like, I mean, until the movie was announced, I'd never even, well, I've heard of them, but it was nothing big to the Marvel Universe, because I was a huge X-Men fan, I was a huge Spider-Man fan, I was never really a big Avengers fan, but occasionally I'd read a story if there was a big crossover over the summer, which that got expensive, man. But they turned out pretty good. But Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd never heard of that. And so now it's getting all these great reviews, making all this money. I gotta check it out. But I can't really afford to. Like, I remember, I've only been to the movies by myself. Have you ever done that? Ever been in the movie theater with no one else in there? That's a fun time, too, because you can just do crazy shit, which we did when we were kids. And I'd go to the mall for 8 hours a day. Well, have you ever taken yourself just to the movie? Just you. I remember I've only done it twice. No. Once, I think. Me and my friend Corey saw the first Matrix in the theater, the second one, but he couldn't make it the day of the third one, and like our schedules didn't line up for a long time after that. So I ended up going because I worked in Swansea, and I thought, well, I'll just go 2 hours early, go check that one out, and then I'll go to work. And I did. It was so weird. It was the third Matrix. He and I went to go see, what's the Jesus movie? Passion of the Christ. That thing made crazy money, huh? Good for Mel Gibson. Well, if you like Mel Gibson. I did with the Lethal Weapons. I love the Lethal Weapons and the Mad Maxes, but I guess he got a little nutty. What are you going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Sweet Mildred. I'm going to draw. I fucking love drawing. And even though it's not making me a lot of money right now, I like drawing. And if I keep drawing and keep getting better, which I have seen huge improvements over the last 5 years, say. A long time I just didn't draw. And then all of a sudden, how did I... Oh, I did the prints for New York because I wanted to sell something while I was in New York. See if I could make some money. Didn't. That's when it started again for me, because Brad had asked me to draw a few pictures for him, and then I turned 2 of them into prints. 2 or 3 of them. And then I started selling at the store and talking to people about it. That's when I got invited to Mysticon. This was a few years later, actually. This last year was my second year, so that was 13. So 2012. So that was 3 years, and I hadn't really done much. But then when I got invited to that, I was like, damn, I'm going to draw some new pictures, and I'm going to... It was weird. And I'm going to go there. And it did a lot better. Locally, I think it makes on a smaller scale. If you're going to be an artist and sell stuff, if you're not known, you might as well do it on a small scale, or you better be doing something really unique to go to a huge convention, because otherwise my ears are doing something weird. I really think I'm getting sick, and that sucks. I didn't feel good all day today. I had to cancel writing tonight with Jim and Ken, which kind of worked out because Destiny came out today, and I know he wanted to play that Ken, and Jim has to be in South Carolina tomorrow. One of his cousins, I believe, is dying of cancer. Not to bring the mood down, but, you gotta want to throw some healing and energy their way, or prayers, or whatever you do. feel free. My friend Jim Castanis. I don't know his cousin's name, but that sucks. I can, it's funny. Death can come at any time, and I talk about getting hit by a plane. Knock on wood, that never happens. It's true. Like, I know. I think I told you guys about Brian McCardle. We played in a band together. 2 bands actually. Over, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. We were never alike. He was silly when he was crazy, and before he met this girlfriend he had around 95. I can't remember her name. He was a really good guy, really nice guy, and then something changed him, and really he just started drinking after that constantly and let himself go, and just died in his bed one night, heart attack. He was 42, I believe. 42. That's 2 years from now. Well, almost 2.5 years from me. But I think about that, and I'm like, man, he had a little girl the same time Gwen was born. I think it was a year earlier. And he was in crazy shape, and he just died in his sleep. Sadly, his wife died recently too of cancer. She didn't tell anyone she had it until she couldn't hide it anymore. She went to the hospital in like 2 months, I think she died. And their daughter, Brian, she's been, I guess, going through a lot, trying to figure out where she's gonna end up. But she's like 17 now, so a year later, like a lot of people growing up have that little bridge from high school to adulthood, where either A, you're still living with your parent, or you're living with a few friends or something like that. But she'll never have that, like, especially because she's probably not going to get adopted at 17 years old when will be an adult a year from then and will be able to do her own thing. I wouldn't imagine. I don't know. I mean, I guess that would be a nice thing to do, but adopting a teenage girl, hell no. I got one of them. Don't need another. Believe me. I just hope the boys are easier, man. All you people out there who don't have kids or are thinking about having kids, think about it. It's a huge responsibility, and I love it. I love being a dad. I think it's awesome, but it is a huge responsibility. And if I hadn't thought I couldn't have done it, then I wouldn't have done it. But I wanted it, and I did it, and it's been very rewarding. The rewards highly outweigh all the hard stuff you have to go through. But sometimes the hard stuff is really hard. Someday I'll share with you the video. It's called Sad. It's about the birth of my 2 boys. And in both cases, there was traumatic experiences. And it whittled away at me. We'll just say that. But I don't want to leave that on a bad note. So thank you guys for coming by tonight. And I think we had a good time tonight. It felt good. Thanks for sharing the video. If you know anybody, who might like these, please share it with them. I'd really like to grow this thing. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I can start showing my art to people. Maybe somebody knows somebody and somebody sees something. Let's all share each other's stuff, man. If I can help you in any way, I will gladly help you. Obviously, I'm poor as shit. But if there's anything I can do to physically help anybody who watches this, let me know. A while back, I was drawing some con sketches in marker. Now that our audience has grown, I haven't offered this in a long time. But if anybody is interested in some free con sketches, I can't promise you it's going to be anytime soon because I've really been busy with all this other art. But if I have some time, I'm going to draw just some, like this. I did this last night. Maybe I'll ink this. I don't know what it is. Some weird guy. Maybe some other stuff. I drew some really kind of animated stuff today. I don't think it's in here. I'm drawing Greg Miller. I thought it came out pretty good. Problem is, I still can't get away from being a line artist. Like, everything I do is in lines. I don't know if the picture... Oh, they're in my player's handbook. I'd love to do some more tutorial art stuff. maybe with my better camera. I know I keep talking about taking this out and doing stuff, but Grayson has been playing baseball, and I want to teach him a little bit myself because he's only played t-ball, and I'm not a very like. I hate saying this word. You guys know I hate the whole gender thing, but manly. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't grow up playing sports. I just got into sports when I got older, and now I know the rules of baseball. I'd really like him to, if he likes doing it, be good at it. Like, no, he doesn't have to be the best, and I would never like critique him for being horrible. However, if he likes it and he wants to get good at it, I want to help him any way I can. I want to help you guys too. So if you guys are interested in con sketches, let me know, and when I get a few drawn, I'll get your address and I'll send them to you. I've got some old prints too that I'll send out to you if you're interested. I'll show them on here. They're not that good. I like my newer stuff way better. That's why I'd rather offer con sketches that might take me 10-15 minutes to draw rather than older stuff that I could just throw in an envelope. I do love drawing, and I love playing music, and I can't wait to play on the 4th. It's still not a done deal, but if anybody in the area is interested in coming, it's at Randolph College, October 4th. It's called Wormstock. We're the Significant Others. We'll be playing about a 45-minute set as long as everything goes well. I just really hope it does, because I haven't played to people in so long, and I love playing to people. I like sharing my talents. So that's why I'm doing it. Don't forget to make somebody smile tomorrow. Make yourself a better person than you were today, tomorrow. Sometimes too much. Where's my drink? Oh, here's my drink. Too much. Let's make the world spin a little bit happier together. Let's sing and dance in the rain. Let's take care of each other and take care of ourselves and make happiness happen. All right? So don't stop loving every single day and do your best, man. I'll see you guys a little further on down the road to 40. Good night, doctor.